know these guys want to turtle it up. They're going to pick some hard carry last. I kind of hope Polaris don't, but now that they've got this Undying Coddle, it does kind of strike me as like a 4 protect 1 death bolt. Like, you know, they just want to buff up their carry, give him the best game possible.
Yeah, Booms is so weird because fighting into Tombstone is going to be really hard for them right now. If they get coiled with a Tombstone, like, what are they meant to do?
You can Serpent Woods a Tombstone, right? That's decent.
Yeah, but it'd probably be pretty hard to do that because of the cast range on the. I don't think they're going to put the tomb next to them.
Yeah. If you're fighting near it, you can maybe you can theoretically.
Polaris get overall last pick. Boom having to pick out of this banning phase. What's a hero that strikes you guys that deals with that tomb? You saying that still might be an issue, but also isn't susceptible to having a gotcha pick, right? Because they're the two things they kind of have to consider right now.
They have last pick, right? So it doesn't.
Oh, sorry, Boom do.
Boom
Sorry,
have last pick, yeah.
I thought Polaris did. Sorry.
So they're good. I think they'll just pick whatever they feel is best for the team.
Right.
I really miss.
my bad.
I really miss when they were just picking Ursa. I would not mind seeing Ursa. It'd be it'd be kind of hard though because you could get what's the word? Kited really hard by Coddle and stuff potentially. I'm not really sure what angle they're going for with their draft right now.
I'll flip my question then because I got the last pick wrong.
Yeah.
Polaris have to pick out of this banning phase. So who are they picking that won't be gotcha picked?
You either need to pick something safe that doesn't get too hard count by anything, or you just pick something that's good for your draft, which is why like Boom banned the Luna because it's like this death bowl. Like they have Undying Coddle, like a Luna. You can just like barrel down lanes, take Roshan. So, I'm not sure anything stands out to me right now, at least. Do they bristle back? Some Coddle bristle?
They could maybe. I would like a Bloodseeker, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's always a safe choice.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And then just like something to cut down on Boom's mobility. You're going to be able to do damage, like even if they're healed by the Wyvern, the stance is going to be super effective. And
they ban PL.
Why?
They're afraid of it. The shaman counter.
Yeah, fair enough, to be honest. You got a clock and a shaman, they can't do anything. And like Wyvern, ain't no way he's going to be able to figure out the real PL and get the right curse off.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see Bloodseeker for Polaris, and then for Boom, I'd probably want... What would I want? Maybe a Wraith King if there was a Bloodseeker, but if not... It's just hard because a lot of melee carries get kited by Coddle. I know it's not core Coddle, but it's still so annoying playing into like Coil, Tombstone, Coddle, slow.
I was going to say Jug for Boom, but there we go. I guess it's just Jug for Polaris. This is the safe, jack of all trades kind of carries, just solid laners. Like, he doesn't like excel in any area. Like, he's not the ultimate late game carry. He's not the strongest of all carries when it comes to laning, but he's decent in every area, I feel like.
Maybe Boom could pick Faceless Void. That hero's kind of going up in stocks.
I like that a lot. Against Puck and Jug.
Yeah. As long as he gets a BKB so he doesn't die to Coil, you can just backtrack off the Omni Slash. It's going to provide like BKB piercing, lockdown versus the spin, all this heroes that are annoying to be caught. The only sad thing is they don't exactly have a lot of chrono damage, but
no,
it's fine. I mean, their game plan is just going to be to get this really early Roshan with the snakes. So maybe they just pick something that is a bit faster to try and take advantage of that.
I mean, the Ursa you mentioned, Enrage versus Jug seems fine. You can just Enrage if he's getting Omni Slash off.
Yeah, or they do just go for this like Wraith King, tank all spells and live.
Yeah.
Yay!
They want it. They want
I like it.
The objective taking pace. They want to go in and just kind of
objective singular.
Yeah.
Because it takes Roshan, it does not take towers.
Yeah.
That's what the shaman's for. Yes. Let's go.
They're trying to split it up, try and take more. But we've called in the big guns. We're going to get Mike and John joining us in here for this game number 2. We started with John last time, so now we're going to start with you, Mike. You get all the floor, all the time to talk about these drafts.
I mean, I actually like Polaris' draft a bit more this game around, so I feel like there should be a bit more of an even matchup. But judging by the way they kind of got wrecked in game 1, I still kind of lean the way of Boom, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Boom might have a bit of a tough time for FBZ in particular. Like, there are ways to work the Shaman and Clockwork lane if you jump to Jug first, but the spin kind of makes it hard for the Clockwork to just run up and harass. So it could lead to some more momentum for Polaris. Having that Puck and Marcy combination with a Dispose is pretty nice as well, but Boom, I mean, they played really good in game one. We'll have to see if Polaris can work themselves against that.
We will see that after you guys tell me which team you're leaning towards. Do you think Polaris stand a fighting chance?
I'm just most excited to see how we get our first core clockwork going.
Okay.
That's hype.
Be fun.
Yeah? So you're just going to say boom for that, clock.
I mean, I'm a clock fan.
There's a lot of reasons to say boom, I think. The biggest of which, Mike predicted them, and they don't call him Mike.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Mike, 100% success rate prediction, La Phoenix for nothing.
Always.
Yes.
Am I right?
They don't call him Michael
That's-
prediction for nothing.
Yeah,
So-
Michael prediction. That's the
And-
nickname we have.
and with a shirt like that,
yeah.
Mike, you're looking sharp, so I trust you.
Yeah, all
Cast the
in.
curse,
Thank you,
cast the
sir.
curse, everyone.
Oh,
Cast the,
yeah, cast the curse.
cast
All right, we're all in
very
boom.
good.
Great. We'll see you guys for game number 3 then. But first, game number 2 is underway with Mike and John.
Well, thank you so much, Nat. Jonathan, you heard the panel. They've finally learnt their lessons, right? You never go against Michael, prediction god, and they've finally gone on my side of things here with Boom Esports, Jonathan. Look, I want to make it very clear. I like Polaris' draft better. I think this is a great team. I think they could pull off a victory here and force it to a game 3. And Boom's draft looks much more experimental this time around, which is what they seem to want to do in these earlier matches before, say, the 3rd game. But again, based off the way they played in game 1, unless these lanes get dominated by Polaris, I still get a little bit concerned about them.
Yeah, I mean, going to your point with Polaris' draft, right? Like you get the Jug versus Clock lane, you've got the spin to counteract all that control and magic damage you have with Clockwork and Shadow Shaman. You have to work your angles here as Tims to get the control off. You have really stable team fight this time around from Polaris. You've got the Kotl combination with... Honestly, Undying is probably the most exciting one with a Kotl, with Chakra spamming out the Decay. Not particularly, you don't tend to prioritize your pause 5 with the mana top-up, but having the Decay spam can be really good, especially against something like the Ursa. You might be able to kite him around. There's a lot of tools for Polaris on the draft, but it also comes down to execution. If you remember our talk with Clairvoyance, right? It's also down to execution. He likes to mention that a lot, and on paper, Polaris has a draft they can execute on really well. We just have to see them meet that potential here, Mike.
Yeah. You almost sounded a bit angry about that, Jonathan. Clairvoyance with his, establishing the fact that it is about, how it's done, how it's played. I know you got scolded last week by Clairvoyance, Jonathan, live on stream, so it's a very heartbreaking moment for you.
Nah, he knows his stuff. He knows way more than I do. So,
we know
love
that,
hearing
John.
from him.
Well, he's
Of
the
course,
coach,
of
Jonathan.
course.
You'd hope so. Goodness me.
Yeah. You don't hear him talking about circles, which is a plus or minus depending on your viewpoint there, Mike.
Are there any good circles in this game number 2, Jonathan, that you want to talk about before we get into the laning stage?
Somewhat. I guess you have like Blinding Light, Will-O-Wisp, Dream Coil, and Jug Spin. The Beyblades there for Polaris on the side of Boom. You've got the wards and the cogs, right? And I guess Winter's Curse if you want to count that. Still taking a look at those lanes. You are seeing Skem again on that Winter Wyvern with Jackie on the Ursa up against Force on the poor Marcy and Xavius on the Kotling. There's some good combinations you can try here. It is pretty tough for Force. We've seen this before. Melee matchup against Winter Wyvern. She just pops the Arc burns you down. It's a strength here as well. So the percent burn's already very effective level 1, already down to half HP for Force. Gonna have to eat through those tangos early. Xavius, this is a pretty Xavius-y hero. We always talk about Polaris and their pause 4. They do love playing greedy. He can just blast the creep wave, secure the range creep at the least, and get some farm for his own. But that can lead to a slower time for the actual core in the offlane as well if he has to really go this greedy here.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the Wyvern, I do think this Winter Wyvern is just such a strong position 5 in this current meta, and as the levels go up, Skim's going to be even more of a nuisance in this lane. Though mid lane, Yopaj and Lelouch going to be going at it with the Puck first Void Spirit matchup. For now, Lelouch is ahead in terms of CS, but again, it's a very even matchup between these two. Anything in particular... Oh, hold on a minute. Very cheeky Aether Remnant there by Yopaj, trying to catch out Lelouch mid-waning Rift, but anything else to keep an eye out here in this mid lane, John?
It's a relatively even lane. Puck does have a slight advantage, but Void Spirit can play against it with a good 8 Remnant, as we're seeing Yopaj kind of try to do. And it goes back to the interview as well, right? Like, Mac and Yopaj both actually 1v1 mid against each other before every game. I'm not sure if they did it this time. Before any of them has a series, they kind of contact each other practice. So they know each other very well, and I think this is the lane that's probably the most competitive for Polaris and for Boom. you still see Yopaj keeping up in CS, so he's not completely behind, but again, Lelouch has a much easier time clearing out that creep wave.
Oh, bot lane. Skem going to be first blooded here as Xavius able to take the kill on the Keeper of the Light. So a very nice start here for Polaris Esports down at the bot lane. And I was just talking about how great Skem was going to do on the Wyvern, John, but turns out he ends up going down.
Yeah, you still have to watch your positioning. Still susceptible to that damage that can come through. There are some combinations to play there. And, you know, there is room to kind of be aggressive onto the Wyvern. You don't mind too much. You're giving your Ursa a pretty good lane. Jackie's still farming up. Maybe not as well as Natsumi, behind by a couple of CS. Not the worst thing in the world for the Ursa. And speaking of that jug up top, FBZ and Tim's, you know, clockwork shaman lane. There is the Shackles combo. There's the Hex down the line. There's Ether Shock damage. But it can be a bit tough for FBZ. Natsumi, as long as he has the spin, is pretty safe. You've got Sustain on TMV, and every time the clockwork does want to come in, you have to deal with Decay. It's a strength hero, does not like getting that damage taken away, and can be tough to find an opportunity to play there.
He goes for a Shackle on Natsumi, but Tim's, I think, was just trying to make sure he gets out of there. As now TMV trying to get rather aggressive, but is being punished quite heavily here by Tims, who does have a Mango. If he needs to pop it for the Ether Shock, because he is still level 2, so not going to have the level 2 Ether Shock up. Won't bother throwing it out, but you know, even if they have a bad matchup against the Undying, John, it does seem like Boom is still kind of winning out the lane if you consider how well FBZ is farming and how much free harassment they're getting on Natsumi. My God.
Ooh.
Almost finding the kill, but Natsumi barely surviving. Tim's on the Shaman, though. Just look at the way he zones them out here, John.
Yeah, he just runs up. He understands he has really good right click to play with here. Can just make short work of the jug if TMV can't keep him back. They don't really have stuns here on the side of Polaris as well, so they can't even play like aggressively with spin, and TMV has to be careful.
He does. They're going to move in. They'll secure the killers. Now Natsumi, I don't think the spin's going to work in his favor. He does back himself out. And very luckily, Tims did not have mana for Shackles. Otherwise, that probably would have been a double to go the way of Boom. So a 1-2-1 so far, but a few concerning signs there, John. Like, you choose a +5 Undying. It does kind of mean you want to dominate that safe lane. And, well, for now, it just doesn't feel like they've done so.
Not particularly. Natsumi, he's still finding some farm. You know, he hasn't died. At the very least, it's only his +5 falling. But again, you've got that spin. You don't have a stun to set up. It is good for running away from FBZ and Tims, but finding the angle to actually play on top, to play with that decay damage, is pretty tough for Natsumi. So you're just going to have to opt to farm, and FBZ can always kind of play with the cogs, already at level 4. By the time he hits level 5 with level 3 battery assault, it gets really scary. TMV has to just keep playing the backline, maybe start to just focus on solo ripping up Natsumi when he can, as Tims has done a fantastic job of zoning. Already has the brown boots up, so he can just keep that chase.
Force. He's getting slowed down quite a lot here, Jackie. Trying to move in, but the rebound is out from our Marcy, so Force going to be just fine. You see, they were trying to get a little bit aggressive here on Jackie with the dispose into the Illuminate, but just not quite enough damage to do with the Ursa quite yet, and you do start to get a little bit concerned once Jackie hits level 6, because it just doesn't feel like you're actually going to be able to kill him unless you have a +1 kind of rotation move in.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough to keep Jackie down. And the one thing for Polaris as well is they have to really watch Rosh. It's not just the Ursa, but of course, Shadow Shaman still does a lot of damage onto the Roshan. So once Tim says 6, you're going to be very comfortable.
Yeah, Yopaj, he gets the haste rune, going to try and keep moving in as Lelouch is going to try to fight back, but Yopaj just standing on the staircase, having the high ground, is with the haste rune. He'll just keep going onto Xavius. They should eventually have the keeper. Is Lelouch going to show himself once again? Yopaj, he might go for a bit of a cheeky chase, but Lelouch trying to juke him out, and does kind of do so. We'll walk into the tree line, and that's going to be enough. Lelouch, he will survive through the onslaught, but Yopaj, he will walk away with a kill of his own.
He's going to have to get topped up though, but supports on mid means no bottle refill. And that does leave some of their lanes a bit more exposed. And FVZ already at the 5 could try for a kill opportunity if Tims does decide to come back up. Instead, they're kind of opting to just hold mid, get the farm going, get the EXP going. You do want that fast 6 in the Shaman. Skem can just fly away, does spot the stacks, and that will force Xavius and Lelouch to get to work on it. They don't want to kind of give that away onto Skem.
Oh, Lelouch, he's taking a lot of damage from those stacks. He's going to be somewhat cautious. Skem is at least going to be able to just soak all the XP away as well. You don't really get any gold out of this if you're Skem, but a bit of XP to go his way as Well, top lane FBZ now. He chased down a little bit here by this junk, but just pops the battery assault, and Natsumi understands he cannot keep fighting FBZ. Not without the Omni Slash up. He will be forced to back off, and so far the pulse free clock kind of working out here, John. FBZ's having a very free lane.
Yeah, it's just left alone. He knows there's no kill threat because there's no stun fall through.
Tims, he's so good at setting up here on this Shaman. Just finds the easiest keeper of the light kill in his life, and well, now boom, with the siege creep up, they are going to chip away at the mid tier 1.
Yeah, then it's a big lane for them to shut down. Lelouch can't really deal with it all too well. He's creep cutting right now to drag the wave back, but
Nice
leaves him a
remnant.
bit vulnerable.
Yeah, he gets held down for a moment. He does have Dream Coil available, and we'll try to orb the other way, though Lelouch actually does commit to it. Tims unable to get in range for the Hex or the Shackles. And the race is on for that 8-minute power rune. No Astral Step charges, though an Aether Remnant going to hold down the puck, but he does manage to pick up the rune. It's now Cold Embrace, Skem. A bit of danger here on the Wyvern. Yopaj going to get himself out as Skem will try to do the same, but eventually will drop. So Polaris not only able to get the Illusion Rune, but do find themselves a very nice kill there onto Skem.
You see what Boom does. They see that commitment onto the mid. They have Tims leave the lane, head back top, try to look for the jug while he's vulnerable. And you already have Natsumi kind of jungling. You've got the level 6 ready in FBZ, so you've got the hook shot ready to kind of just jump across the map and get aggressive there. And the bot lane, you can still solo as Jackie. Like, without the Kotl around, there's no combination for the Marcy to play with. You don't want to get into prolonged fight up against the Ursa melee matchup. Fury Swipes just wins the day. So you kind of just let Jackie farm, keep looking for the aggression on Boom's end. Polaris, I mean, it's still a rather even game, 3-2, less than 1k lead, still riding on Polaris's end. Down to Natsumi getting a little bit more room in that jungle to farm up, and he is doing a great job in kind of building up in that lane. But you have to worry about that momentum. You are hitting the level spikes that you want here on the side of Boom. Interesting to note here as well, Mike, yeah, take a look at our Ursa. Jackie is going for the Battle Fury. So he's going back to that Battle Fury Ursa, maybe expecting Natsumi to want to play a longer game with maybe a similar build-up in the jug, but not quite seeing what Natsumi wants to queue up yet.
Top lane, Natsumi, speaking of the Devil John, he has been caught out and does get taken down. FBZ able to set up with just the battery sword and cogs. Now the fight begins, but they've got the Serpents to drop as Yopaj. He's been targeted, hook shot, it's off the mark, but it may not matter. The Void Spirit still finding a way out somehow, but the orb will follow him down. Nice Aether Remnant by Yopaj, he's out of there. Meanwhile, they've got the Marcy held down. The Force is going to keep trying to go for this fight against Tims and eventually does rebound out. It's FBZ. He'll try for a TP, but Lelouch able to pick up a double kill on the puck. So even though they miss out on the Void Spirit, they still do get away with another. In fact, Yopaj was actually in a spot of danger as Natsumi has a haste rune and tries to chase him down, but he's still going to be able to juke him out.
Really good aggression coming out from Polaris this time. Mentioning the lineup, find that core kill on FBZ. I don't think FBZ minds too much. Again, you're just buying space for your Ursa. You're enabling this greedy Battle Fury build to come out on the bot lane. Polaris aren't counteracting that. They are still getting room out for their jug. But Natsumi is starting to drop behind, but he was ahead. It's kind of bouncing back and forth. Once that Battle Fury is fully finished on Jackie, though, you are going to have an issue. You have to find a way to punish that Ursa. You need to be able to commit onto him. And you still need to keep constant eyes on Roshan, because the wards, it's going to be up in a minute for Tims. You don't have the lifesteal on the Ursa, but maybe just with Serpent wards and that Battle Fury damage, it might be enough to just give you early Rosh.
Yeah, it makes sense as well, because you don't want to buy Diffusal this game on the Ursa, because not only is everyone just way too mobile, but they just, it won't do anything. Like Natsumi could just spin out of the slow, and the puck obviously just orb away. Like there's just so many ways of getting away from that slow. He may as well go down the farming route and go into a Basher later on. So what I believe is what Jackie's thinking. So Polaris is still doing a decent job of keeping up here. They are 1k ahead on the dire end of things, and Natsumi is just behind the Ursa. But it kind of goes back to what you said, John. Once the Battle Fury's up, things do change rather quickly, and Natsumi, he is going to be going for a Maelstrom build-up, but it's going to take him a bit longer than, say, the Battle Fury for Jackie.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a slower lane. He went for phase boots and Wraith Band first to sustain that lane. Jackie just has brown boots and magic stick, really. And you look at the stacks built up here by Boom as well. Tims has just been focused on that jungle, getting a massive amount of Ancients. Very easy for the Ursa to clear down the line. Doesn't quite get this next stack. Still a ton of gold. And Polaris haven't scouted that out. They haven't been able to dip in that triangle, They haven't been able to contest that. I don't think they even can. Maybe you could with a Jug spin. I don't know if it's really enough damage and sustain with a healing ward at this point. So you have this ticking gold time bomb that Jackie can just go into, and there's still no solution. You are catching up with Lelouch. Like our Puck, his rotations have been successful. Witchblade already up, the damage is there.
Tim's in danger. They'll drop the tombstone just in case they burst down Tim's, though FBZ now going to try and force the fight with the curse out, but oh, it's on a creep. Bit of a misplay out from Skem. He's not happy about it. Still a nice hook shot into the cogs out, but Force, he's going to survive. The hills out from TMB, keeping him up as they'll take down the Clockwork onto Skem. They'll get the Wyvern, and now poor old Jackie. He's in the middle of all this. He'll run past the tier 2, but Force is going to follow him down as now the Omni will be committed. Polaris able to really clean up in the mid lane, and well, Boom Esports getting caught with their pants down here do get punished heavily.
Yeah, that's a bit of an awkward fight. They didn't get a great hook angle. They do find the Ancients now, and they will get the damage going. It takes all of them, but they clear it out. And that's a lot of gold that you'd want to invest on Jack with his fresh battle fear. He's just not getting. And a successful hit and run for Polaris. They find the kills they need, full team wipe into the stacks. They make it work in a big way. And a bit of a fun fact with this matchup. We all know Boom's manager, Mr. Lane. Of course, a little fun fact, he used to be on the droid. And Polaris used to be a droid. So maybe Agent Lane has something. I'm just kidding, Lane. Don't get mad. Just wanted to give him a shout out. He's a fun guy.
I'll say it, John. He probably is an agent this game. Look at this. Under the Void Spirit they go. They should have him. Dreamcoil's not going to last long enough. In fact, FBZ, he hookshot him, but he hits the Void. So Yopaj goes down, and now FBZ on the boss 3 clock. He's going to follow soon after, I think. Though a nice curse is out, at least finding the Marcy. It's FBZ going to keep trying to run. The Illuminate will not connect, but TMB is on the chase with a Soul Rip up very soon, but just can't find the angle for the clock. So they do move back into the tier 1 mid tower, and you still got the mid Void Spirit, so you should still be very happy here as Polaris.
It's a massive take. You're slowing down Yopaj, you're stopping that Void Spirit from hitting critical mass, going into the Yules for self-setup on the Remnant, and they managed to take the mid. They're using this Jug really well in Polaris' end, using that healing ward, using the sustain they have with their lineup and the wave clear they have with the Kotl as well to just get some early aggression going. For Boom, kind of boils back to just having a greedier one. Jackie still wants to just farm. They're not even making any moves onto Roshan, which we kind of suspected with, say, the Shaman plus Ursa. No room to go for Rosh. And with their mid-tier 1 down, it's much easier for Polaris now to kind of keep an eye on that area, drop some wards, get a TP point going as well. So some of those early times for Boom are kind of thrown off. Polaris feeling great. They need to keep that momentum up though. Natsumi already has the Maelstrom, can kind of catch up and farm. A bit of a chase up top.
There it is. TMB's already going to pop the Flesh Golem here. Going to see if they can maybe force a positive fight for themselves. No hookshot coming up from FBZ either, so just not going to go for the attempt. He wants to try and finish off the Orchid before he goes any further. Speaking of Orchid build-ups, our Pos 4 Kotl has one now. Xavius having a full Orchid of his own on this Keeper of the Light, and that's very scary for Boom. That silence going to play a big part, I think, and well, there's no BKBs coming out anytime soon here for Boom Esports. So it's going to cause huge issues.
They're going to be caught off guard. They're only going to have the Yules on Yopaj, and he might use it offensively first. So big timing for Polaris. It's down to how Xavius loves to play. He plays greedier into his force, and it almost always pays off if he does get that start.
Oh, even find a regen rune. Lelouch, he'll take it up, fill it up with the bottle. Be more than happy here on this puck because Polaris, I mean, they hold on to that 2k advantage they've got. The cheeky smoke out here from Xavius, but not going to last very long. We are in that little bit of a quiet period now within this game number 2. Polaris, they are the hunters right now, and they certainly should realize they are ahead. Probably in their best interest not to slow down too much here against this Battle Furiosa, as they might find FBZ. Coiler's there onto the Clockwork, hold him down, silence him up. Jackie's going to try and come in and help out by killing off TMB and does find him. That'll be 1 for 1. That might just be enough though. Polaris, maybe still going. They found the puck. Lelouch. That's a massive pick off for Boom. And Roshan, it's up.
Yep, they go in. They finally find the opportunity for that Roche. Drop the ward. It's not going to take long to clear that out. Xavius can give some vision in, but without the puck jumping in there is pretty tough for Polaris. And y'all are kind of zoning out here, and Yopaj is showing up, looking for an opportunity. A really great fight coming out from Boom. They do sacrifice FBZ. It doesn't quite matter. Your win conditions in your Void Spirit, in your Ursa are still building up. You're allowing Tims to rush into that blink now, Mike.
Don't run up those staircases. Oh, maybe they can. I thought Skem might go for a bit of a curse out. Yopaj was around the area, but instead, he does run his way out, and well, they try to follow up onto the Orchid, but it doesn't work out for them. So suddenly a 1k net worth advantage now for Polaris Esports. Even less so, in fact. Boom. With the Aegis up, I wonder, do they bother trying to get aggressive? I mean, you've even got the blink up on Jackie now, so it certainly feels like they've gone a bit of an aggressive route with this Ursa. It's TMV. Not going to be within vision here for Boom, so he gets himself out, but like I said, John, with the Aegis and the BKBs coming, you'd think it's probably about time to try and get aggressive here as Boom.
Yeah, should be about time. They're hitting their tempo. They've got the Orchid up on FBZ here as well. And, of course, Tim's Blink in about 50 gold. So you have a lot to play with. Polaris, though, going for a smoke. Maybe looking to isolate one. Jackie would be a big target. He's pretty far from everyone else here.
He certainly is. This could be a great pick-off here for Polaris if they could catch him. He does have Aegis up, and Skem's actually going to scout everyone out. He breaks the smoke on the Wyvern. Very nice positioning there from Skem as Yopaj is going to try and come in, catch out the puck. There's your Hex out, Tims. He might be able to hold him down, but no, there's the dispos there on to the Shaman as he is gone. Hook was off the mark as well from FBZ. So maybe Polaris, they can keep this fight going if they really want to. But it doesn't seem like they will. They'll accept the 2 kills that they got and the buyback, of course, from Skem, and that'll be enough for them.
Yeah, you're really satisfied here as Polaris. You don't find Jackie, you don't manage to bring through the Aegis, but you find 2 kills, you force a buyback, and you don't really have the long assaults to wait for. So you can just kind of sit back, reset for the next 40 seconds, wait for the next Dream Coil to be up. You have enough time to go for a defensive play onto your tier 2 mid, which is the next target Boom might want to prioritize, if not top. For Boom's part, they shouldn't be forcing too hard, and they finally have that blink on Tims. They could have more angles to play with. They were a little bit more reactive. It was a good catch onto the puck, but he did have backup this time. Lelouch had enough of his teammates around that he wasn't in imminent danger from that remnant play and the Hex, and they just keep stalling. The one issue is, Natsumi is really starting to lag behind that Orisa, and it's just back to the Battle Fury timing. Jackie was allowed to build up into it a lot faster than the Jug was allowed to go into his Maelstrom. He's got a lot of free room. He's not using the Aegis aggressively, but they are just waiting for that BKB, which is a recipe away. So about 1.4k gold, once that's up, you should get going.
Orchid Solarbind is there on the Ursa. They've got a BKB available on Force. They're going to try and move in and Skem. Once again, getting caught out straight off the bat. As FBZ, he has his own Orchid up now. They got the Hex out onto the puck. Tombstone down as well. In fact, they'll find the Marcy, but she does have rebound. Force, he's going to keep trying to move in here with the sidekick and the Unleash. Back in onto Yopaj, who actually goes in with the actual step, but is going to get punished. Not expecting the Orchid out from Xavius. He will go down. And so it started off a decent fight for Boom, but they gave the Void Spirit life away, and now it looks a lot better for Polaris.
Yeah, a little bit of an aggressive play from Yopaj, maybe not expecting that many heroes to still be hanging around for the chase, and does get punished. You're still fairly happy here for Boom. I mean, you find that puck kill, you still hold on to the Aegis, and BKB's coming closer and closer, Jackie.
Gonna try Natsumi. FBZ's right behind, trying to catch up. He does not have hookshot available right now. Does have some stick charges, but they won't bother trying to chase any further. Polaris not really backing off too much either, just constantly sticking as a unit. I don't know, if you're Polaris, John, like at some point, this Jug is probably going to be an issue. I appreciate the kind of the point you've made here that this Ursa is just going to farm way faster, but maybe that's the idea for Polaris. Maybe just keep trying to buy more time.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to keep stalling out for Natsumi. I think the one issue of stalling out against the Ursa is the timing, although.
X out, Tim's not going to catch the puck, but he's got the Marcy. Lelouch, they're going to move in with a silence of his own onto that Shaman. He will get one. Now the curse out from Skem to hold a couple down. Jackie's going to move in here along with FBZ, trying to get those kills going. They will find the keeper into the Marcy. While Lelouch, he's still chasing around, but doesn't really find anything himself.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Yeah, it's a great turn this time from Boom. Great curse from Skem to kind of group them up. and Jackie just jumps in at the right time. Still has that fresh BKB as well. No charges popped in that last fight, and they've got their opportunity to use that Aegis for an objective. Aegis still set to expire though in about 1 second, so not going to get the max use out of it onto objectives. There's an opening out for Polaris if they wish. Going to have to wait for that Dream Coil to be back up. And going back to your point about Jug, like, yes, Jug can keep up in itemization. It does still feel like a very strong hero towards the late game. I think the one issue for Jug is the uptime of your invulnerability, or your winning situation with Jug is Omni Slash, right? You want to jump in with that spell. You could try to play with the Blade Fury with a shard buildup, and that can still be effective. But it does feel like if your Jug is too reliant on Omni Slash to have presence, it's a massive cooldown. It's 130 seconds. Swift Slash is nice as well, but that's an Ags buildup. We don't tend to see Jugs rush it as much, especially since the shard feels like a much more stable buildup. And it does feel like Boom still has solutions to the spin. Like, maybe down the line, as you mentioned, Jackie can just build into a basher, so even if you spin on top of the Ursa, you can just turn back, bash through you, and you're still kind of in an awkward position. So it's going to be down to tempo. If Polaris can play around their Jug as the game goes later and use that Omni Slash in key fights, then it does start to feel good. Find a good circumstance for the spin, protect the Jug in those situations as well. It can feel good. I think for execution, Boom has lower cooldowns. It's much more up-tempo for them to be aggressive with Ursa, and I think that will allow them to dictate more of these engagements than it does for Polaris.
Absolutely. So Polaris, they have grouped up down a bot lane here, John. It could be another fight to break out very, very soon. Scan out from Polaris. Not going to find anyone in that scan yet. There is going to be a 3-man smoke being committed here from Boom now. They make it just in time as the scan wears off. Bit of an awkward time now for Polaris. They have no idea. Or do they? They back off for a moment. TMV, though, going to get caught out, but he's just a pos 5 undying. He won't mind dying first. With that information, Polaris, they will back themselves out. Nobody else going to get caught here from the dire end. So, very nice positioning from TMV to allow them to just retreat when they do need to.
Yeah, not the biggest kill in the world for Boom. Still going to be pretty happy. I think FBZ really needed some kills under his belt to start catching up in the clock, trying to work onto his BKB. So you don't mind it too much as the clockwork is at least getting something. And you're also getting some space for Tims to work onto his own BKB. So you're seeing some great BKB spikes for Boom. Shackled's BKB from the Shaman's going to be pretty deadly. I mean, you can still kind of work against that down the line when you hit 25 in the Lush. Could be one way to deal with it, but holding down something like Jug, holding down the puck for an extended period feels pretty dangerous for Polaris. So you've got some great angles to take, you've got great mobility on Boomsand. For Polaris's part, I mean, again, they're keeping up in farm really well here, Mike. Natsumi is already at the shard, working onto the Scotty that you want to play with a shard as well. But that basher is already up for Jackie, so even if you go for a shard-oriented build, Natsumi probably doesn't want to be spinning on top of the Ursa by himself. They need to control the Ursa for him, ensure that he can't just stand, overpower, and get a couple of lucky bashes, and then that spin is just kind of useless.
Bot lane may get caught, Force. Nice rebound. X is there from Tims, but it's not going to make the difference. Polaris able to find another great pickoff for themselves. It's the possible Shaman to go down, and it makes them feel a little bit safer across the map here for Polaris Esports. And, well, Boom, they don't really flinch at all seeing that happen. It seems to all be about that next Roshan anyway, which is about 50 seconds away. Tims will be back up in time for that Roshan, or the contest at the very least. And you can see Boom, they just go back for the outpost. It really is just all about securing that position for the next Rosh.
They've got a really good spot for it as well. Nice wards up in the top jungle and lane. Watching the entrances to the jungle, watching that area near the outpost for any rotations if they do go for the Roshan. Polaris still has a good smoke angle to kind of come in though and force that fight. They've got the Dream Coil at the ready here. Lush already has his Aeon Disc ready to be unlocked as well. So the puck Aeon Disc might catch Boom off guard if they're not careful, and there is a smoke play here.
Could be a big fight for Polaris. They've got to find that right initiation though. Relying on Force to be able to get a nice dispose off in the middle of this team fight. Boom actually the ones to back off a little bit and just remain on that high ground of the triangle. Outpost will be retaken by Polaris. Definitely very important if you get any buybacks during this next Roshan fight, John. You need that outpost up on your side. Need that TP point as they Lush mid lane. May get caught with his pants down. Yopaj gets a silence off, gets a second one, but where's your follow-up damage? They'll get the Yule Scepter, but they did not have the Shaman to back them up. Tim's just not in position for the follow-up Hex, and Lelouch, he kind of gets away for free in that scenario.
They know there was a smoke play as well from Boom, popping a couple of those spells in the middle. And Polaris now gets to just play patient. They hold the high ground. They haven't spotted out these wards. So there's also information here from Boom, although...
DPC, he's been caught out. He'll get an Orchid off onto Lelouch, but he's going to cop the Illuminate into the Dispose. But here comes Jackie, and that's a very nice curse out from Scam. They get the Keeper. Force, he will rebound out in time. Keep in mind, Roshan is up right now, though neither side is feeling too comfortable to make their way in.
Yeah, I mean, you expended a BKB on Jackie. He doesn't find the big kill he wants on the offlane Marcy. You also forced a BKB of Force, but doesn't feel as detrimental for that Roche fight. So they've got some good AoE control from Polaris to kind of play with there. And you know the threat of Winter's Curse is gone. So that big control Boom has for counter-fighting in Roche is kind of taken away. And that will force Boom to just take it slow once more, you know, play this farming game. It's still a really even game on net worth, but Jackie has pulled ahead. 3k above Natsumi now. Our Jug is going back instead for the good old Nullifier. They do catch out Team V, though.
Now, TMV, once again, though, he's just dying for the team right here. It's not too stressful at all for the Undying to just die like that. He doesn't have buyback, which I suppose is the worrying sign, but again, it doesn't seem like Boom feel confident to go for Roshan. They want a bigger target, so they are going to smoke up as 3. Lelouch should be the target they really wanted the puck, but instead they might have to settle for Xavius, who does run right past the back. Oh, he just recalled! Natsumi's going to immediately spin out of there. But my god, that could have ended in a real disaster had they not been lucky. ZFBZ in the meantime has been caught out on the clockwork, but is going to be able to hookshot right back in onto the puck. Lelouch going to be saved by the Aeon Disc for now, but the Aether Remnant going to lock him down. They'll even have an Orchid out. That'll be the puck's life gone. That'll also be Roshan's life gone to the side of Boom Esports.
That's a big set of kills all off the back of that movement out. If the recall was there, you might have been able to maybe rework an angle with Natsumi and the Kotal, but just kind of falls apart. Great split up fight from Boom going hunting. They know this is around their power spike now. Second Roche goes down. They get the shard, give it onto Jackie. He's almost got his full Satanic here as well, Mike. So you might have been able to do something if you had a full Scotty up on Natsumi. He does go back for the Scotty instead of the Nullifier, so kind of switching things around. Again, playing with that slow, playing with a spin that you can do a lot with a shard. But Boom, this is their moment. You know, they've got the BKB flying out for Tims. They have secondary lives. They have a lot of AoE control with the silence coming through from Yopaj. You can't really stop this. Polaris, their best bet is to find one isolated here, as we have seen them do before, rip into it and force Boom to collapse on top in a haphazard way. It does feel like when you do catch someone off guard, Boom tries to really force that fight, and sometimes gets a little bit awkward. Polaris needs to kind of force Boom to do that again.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the classic wait for the other team to make a mistake here for Polaris now, and it could be rough waiting. Xavius, he's going to TP down bot and try to protect the bot lane here in this tier 2 tower that is still standing.
Dire's courier has been killed.
No vision scouting him out yet, but as soon as he tries to make his escape, he is going to be under the Observe Ward of the Radiant. Seems like the focus from Boom is in the mid lane of Polaris, and Polaris, they do back their way out and go for a smoke. Bot lane is set up here on Jackie. They've got Lelouch around with Xavius to make the jump in. Problem is, he does have 2 lives and a BKB and the Enrager. They'll make the jump in, though. 1 life is going to go down. A nice start for Polaris. The curse, not really doing too much, but they do take down TMB. Now Tim's to go down, but Jackie is right in. Has he gone a bit too far, though? It does seem like it. And they are going to be forced to back out of here as Polaris. They're the ones trying to punish. In fact, they even found Yopaj in the tree line. He was underneath vision. He's going to drop in the Void Spirit. They won't find the Ursa. FBZ hookshot and away should be fine as well. But it's a successful high ground defense to come from Polaris.
Yeah, they just play around their vision really well. They have the patience to hold there. Immediately burst down the Ursa, make him uncomfy in his second life. Boom, not able to work the angle in. And again, it's just down to that playstyle, right? Like, they pick off one, they force Boom to collapse in a very awkward manner. They're kind of out of position to follow through on their Ursa. and then it kind of tumbles down from there. So if Polaris can just hold this way, keep going for that hit and run, don't play on Boom's turns, play on your own, and force Boom to respond, Polaris still finds success there. They find a double damage rune here as well. Natsumi's going to have a great time with that, with a bottle given over to him. Omni Slash only a minute away until it's off cooldown, so you're feeling pretty good. You kind of deal with that Aegis advantage for Boom. For Boom's part, when they find the tier 2, sure, they haven't made any progress on the high ground. As long as you're not sieging high ground, Xavius is pretty happy. They can clear out the creep waves with the puck and the Coddle very well, even the Jug, of course, and you just kind of farm. And then it'll just go to that point where it's all about circumstance. If the Jug can always find these good Omnis, your Ursa can't really do much to stop that. The curse from Scam was pretty nice, but it was a quick spin out from Natsumi, not allowing him to rip through his own ally. Boom, though, will go for another smoke play themselves.
It seems like they are starting to get a little bit concerned about the Jug just kind of getting too farmed up, and I still agree with that kind of sentiment here from Boom to not allow Natsumi a free game as we do head into the later stages. It's Natsumi going for the Nullifier up next. Could be very detrimental here for the rest of Boom as... Well, they are smoked up, but it seems like the smoke is a little bit too obvious here for Polaris. They'll get their vision down and prepare for a fight in their own triangle. Nothing going to come of it yet, though. It seems like Boom have recognized the smoke was a little bit too obvious here, and well, Polaris still waiting. Natsumi almost trying to bait in FBZ on the clock, but he won't go for it. He's just going to hold his ground here on the clockwork. I think now both teams realize that, you know, both of them are aware of where each other are.
Double damage.
DD pop though.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire are scared.
It's probably not going to be used in this fight. It doesn't look like a fight's going to be breaking out. It's one of those things, right, Mike, where you kind of lose a fight with Aegis. Boom doesn't want to force the issue without Aegis now. So just going to wait for that next objective. They find an Arcane Rune for themselves this time. Yopaj going to have lots more spells to use in the middle of an engagement. Polaris, I think they feel confident, right? You can hold against the push with your Coddle and your puck. You know you've got scaling with your Jug. You don't necessarily need to force the issue. You just need to catch Boom off guard. And Boom are also not keen to give those opportunities away. So it's just a bit of a stalemate, although could boil down in mid if someone wants to jump. Nah, patience game.
You question who it's paying off for, though. The real blade up now on Yopaj.
Radiant's top tower
We have a disarm here now on the Void Spirit as... Well, mid lane, Natsumi is going to show himself, but he's got backup. Jackie, in fact, will show himself first here on the Ursa.
Radiant's top tower
Nothing going to come of it, though. Both sides back off once again. Very kind of patient game here from either team. Yeah, I suppose it is one of those games where, again, it's going to be all about Roshan. This is why we need some map changes, Jonathan. So, Roshan, you know, maybe change it up a little bit, move it to the other side of the map, make it a little bit more challenging. Natsumi, lane, going to spin his way out once again, but a very nice smoke break from the Juggernaut. So Boom find nothing for their trouble once again. Polaris, they're still doing the exact same thing. They're just preparing high ground defense, waiting for Boom to overextend and make a mistake. And they are doing a decent job of it. They are not allowing themselves to get caught out.
Just playing under where they've got control, backing off at the right times, knowing that everyone's kind of clumped up on both sides, and you don't want to jump into Boom. Boom doesn't want to jump into you. They can afford to kind of put the
hook
ult.
shot. FBZ, he does block the way with the cogs out now as well, so the Jug's in big trouble. They'll get the Hex out. Natsumi needs some help, but the Shackles was there to lock him down. Very nice setup there by FBZ. So try to move in onto Force, but he'll rebound away. Instead, Yopaj will try for a chase onto Lelouch. We'll find Force instead. No Aether Remnant to come out, though, as they do have the silence, and now the Ethereal Blade. That kind of messes up Jackie.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a mistake there coming out from Boom, just not quite coordinated. That does allow Force to back off, but the push still continues. Wards are still there, although...
Lelouch does find one. Nice pick up there by the puck as they will try to hold him down with the Remnant, but Aeon Disc is going to protect as Lelouch is going to try to orb his way out of there and eventually should be able to, but Yopaj, he'll keep going with the chase out. Another Aether Remnant available here for the Void Spirit, but he won't bother any further. It's back into the mid-tier 3, or rather the mid-racks. They already got the tier 3 tower down. Hook shot in FBZ right on target. Has the Coddle. That'll be Xavier's down, but he'll buy back immediately. Problem is, Jackie, already halfway through that mid-racks, is probably going to get away with it. I don't think this coddle's going to stop him. They will orc it up. Jackie doesn't care, though. And they'll just walk away.
Yeah, and that's Boom finally finding an opening without even having Aegis. They just see Natsumi up front. Natsumi a bit too confident with the spin blink. Does get caught off guard by FEZ finding good angle on the creep wave with a hookshot, and that opened up that entire fight. Polaris now, they can take care of melee super creeps on mid, but now it's going to be a bit more awkward for them to try to go for that rush. 1 minute until it respawns. You've got the full Ags up now for FBZ, overclocking online. So double hookshot's going to be big to deal with that Jug. I think it's been really off the back of FBZ, at least in that last fight. If you can constantly isolate Natsumi, who tries to act as bait like that, things can go very, very awkward for Polaris fast.
He's right in. TMV's already gone here, John. Hookshot off the mark, though. Nice setup here by Force onto the clockwork, but FBZ, he'll pop his own BKB out as now Force. He'll get stunned up by the Abyssal of Jackie, but a nice rebound away. He's barely going to make it for now. Force is out, but they've lost Xavius and they've lost Natsumi. Bit of a mess here for Polaris. Luckily for them, Roshan is not up, but John, they could just go high ground again. They have a mid-creep wave.
Yeah,
no buybacks.
No threat of buyback from the Jug. They can't really stop it. Boom will clear out that range. Pings out for the top if they want to. No, just go for the end game.
Why the hell not? You got 65 seconds without a Jug here. So Boom, they should know they can just go all the way for the end. 4 towers under siege. Polaris, they're the ones who need to find a way to defend this. Hookshot is their FBZ. Gonna finally lose on the puck. He'll try to use it off, but the Aether Remnant gonna hold him down. Leilu's got no buyback either. So Boom, they'll really just go for the jugular here. You've got one Undying, and now you've got another Marcy, but they've called the GG. They've had enough. Boom Esports, they'll confidently take this one 2-0. Of course, Jonathan, they still don't look quite as clean as they once did on the side of Boom. I don't think we can lie about that, but Polaris, they weren't good enough today to go up against this team.
Yeah, not quite matching Boom's aggression. You can see how happy Boom is finding that clean 2-0. Their first actual 2-0 this tour as well, so maybe a bit of a confidence boost for Boom. I mean, this was pretty well executed, though, right? Like, they knew what they had to do. They knew Jackie would just go for the Battle Fury. They ensured that they wouldn't be punished for the Battle Fury build-up. Polaris didn't manage to jump on that Ursa while he was super vulnerable, just rushing that. And you did manage to kind of catch up on Natsumi. You were getting some good aggression out of Lelouch. That Orca timing on Xavius was big. But then it just boils down to that waiting game, right? They were just playing patient. As you mentioned, it was a waiting game of mistakes, just waiting for your enemy to provide you that opening. Instead, Natsumi just walks forward, spins. He's done it a couple of times, spin, blink, and FBZ was ready. Just hookshot in, isolate the Jug, and it just boiled down from there. That cracked the game open, and Polaris maybe just went a little bit hasty, wanting to bait in with the Jug, but you know, it's not really an initiation. That's a counter-reactionary play. It's not them taking initiative there.
You know who does want to take initiative, John? Our lovely panel who are sitting by waiting right now, as we are going to head off to a very short break. But right after that break, we'll be back with some post-game analysis and an interview with our panel, which was right this time. We'll see you there.
Another 2-0 series here. Polaris looked a lot better in game number 2 compared to game 1, but Boom, bounce back. They look good. I'm not going to say bounce back. It's not like they were in crazy amounts of deficit and they were in this position that they couldn't win, but it really was a much better showing from Polaris. They did look good, so, sort of coming out of that laning phase where you were saying, Gods, you felt the most impact for the game started happening, and that's where things were starting to shift.
Yeah, I think this is a brief look at kind of what the new Polaris could be. It's not going to be this 4-protect-1 team where we saw a lot more aggression, particularly like fighting around that mid-tier 1 tower. It felt like, if anything, Polaris were the ones controlling the tempo throughout most of the early to mid game. You know, they're making plays, they're looking for those kills, constantly using this Dreamcore plus Dispose combo to really pressure Yopaj, who ended the game with 4 death. Like 2 or 3 of those were in the early to mid game. It was just Polaris who were, unlike game 1, this game they were constantly on the front foot applying pressure.
Did you like how they utilized their heroes in team fights, Sheep?
For sure. I mean, I thought both teams were doing really good things all game. Like, this clip was lovely. Yopaj, like, starting the fight and baiting enough time for his team to connect, and then they kind of kill Polaris, who have, like, committed so much onto him, which is really lovely to see. It felt like, I didn't feel a lot coming from Jug. in both games. I thought he was pretty lackluster, but I thought the rest of Polaris was doing a fantastic job. They did some really nice tombstone placements in the fight. They would get him on like high grounds and stuff and just make it really hard to play. There was like a just quickly, there was a really unfortunate moment where they coiled Yopaj and then he got I think Cottle blasted into the pit somehow by accident and just into like out of harm's way.
Yeah, that
An accidental save.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we saw it a bit there. Speaking of the jug, 8,000 hero damage. That's not gonna cut it as a carry. Like it went late game. Polaris, you know, they said like we got to create space. Like that's what I think Puck as well as Marcy did, and unfortunately Natsumi couldn't deliver in the late game. But
Yeah.
Boom played well.
They did. Just quickly though, do you feel that that was the ultimate breakdown for Polaris? The jug just not really having that impact, or were there a few other things here and there about the map movements that you thought could have been cleaned up by Polaris?
Probably both. Obviously, like I didn't like the jug pick. I was thinking about it when we were doing the analysis, and how like, oh yeah, they could pick that here, but they'd be picking it into like Wyvern, who's typically really good against him because you can nullify the damage from Omni Slash, you can ult him when he's spinning, but I mean it was just hard. Honestly, like the last, did you already mention this? The fight towards the end where Tim's blinked in with his BKB, stunned jug, and then Wyvern covered that by ulting the Marcy was
really
like
nice.
so beautiful spell casting, like covering each other and getting that kill. Like that was like the peak of how I thought their lineup should execute. So in the end, it was just really hard for them to deal with that.
Yeah. It is. I mean, Boom looked fantastic. They're looking back on their A game, especially because they did end up taking this series at 2-0. It also means we get to have a winners interview with them, ask them some questions with Skem joining us from the team. Scam, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on the win. How are you guys feeling for game 2? It looked a little bit rough kind of towards the start there, but you bounced back really well.
We are happy that we win, but I think in the game 2 we are still confident even we are losing a bit early because we know what to do.
What do you think has been the biggest improvement for you guys on Boom over the past few weeks?
I think we are slowly getting back to our playstyle, and I think we are getting better like last time.
And how much importance do you place on Dazzle? Do you think he is one of the better pos 5s out there at the moment, or there just wasn't something else in the pool that you liked?
I think Dazzle is one of the best post 5 because of the sustain in the lane and and he have disable also because of the shards.
Very true.
I want to ask him something. You mentioned like getting back to, you know, playing the way you used to and getting back into form. You know, your team started the year very strong. You know, Tour 1 and then winning the Dubai land. You didn't do great at the major. Where do you think your team is right now, like in terms of, you know, being ready to, obviously you want to get to the major, but like how do you rate like your team's skill level and how you're playing right now?
I think last time we are 10 out of 10. Then we go to major. We are around 4 or 5. Now I feel we are around 7 or 8, getting closer to the last time.
Great. And I want to ask, as far as, you know, getting back, something I asked earlier today, I'm curious about you guys. Are you watching other regions? Are there any specific teams that you watch to kind of try and get ideas from?
Yeah, we watch some other region games, like almost all region, and
Wow.
we try to learn what are they doing and what they should not do. Then we just compare on our own idea.
Yeah. Are there any specific teams from those other regions that you're like you'd really like to play, or that really impressed you?
Not really, but the Europe region is interesting because they are good teams there, right? Yeah.
After you guys play a series and you like maybe you go like 2-1, what do you guys place more importance on watching the replays where you lost, or do you watch like the wins and the losses equally to like learn from them?
We always watch the win or lose. Even example, we win 20 minutes game, we still try to find what can we improve.
Final question before you do head off is, in games like this where you guys are doing quite well, who's the main communicator for you?
Main communicator.
Like,
you
who's doing
mean-
the shot calling and making the plays and telling, I guess, helping and like having those talks about who moves where?
I think every one of us, like who is strong in early, mid game, late game. It
Mhm.
depends on the hero or who can make a call. Then we just follow or we just connect to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Again, congratulations again on the win.
Bye bye.
See
Bye, Scam.
ya.
Bye bye.
Thank
You
They
guys keep
have a-
forgetting to wave. Wave to scam.
Bye,
Bye,
Scam.
I gave him the nod, you know.
Yeah, see ya.
I'm doing
Very
my 30-year-old wearing a backwards hat, so I gotta keep it, you know.
What's up, my
Like,
cool
yeah,
kids?
yeah.
Thanks for having a
Thanks,
chat
Scam.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to hear, though, that that's their communications that they have. It's very open, whoever's sort of in the lead at the moment. But speaking of leads, we can have a look at Division 1 standings so you guys know who is out in front at the moment, and it is RSG. They have played 5 series now and picked up 4 wins. That's absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic for them. Fnatic haven't played as many yet, but they haven't lost any yet. So that is good light for them. Then it's Talon, boom, tied down there, T1, and then SMG, and then NGXC and Polaris.
Yeah, I think the to me with the trick with the standings is you always gotta look at the loss column more than the wins. Like, yeah, RSC's the top, but there is five teams. We're like halfway through week 4, and 5 teams have only lost once or
Yeah.
less. Like, that's insane to me.
You've got to look at both columns, the win and the losses,
Sure.
because there's one team that's played 6 games, so they only have 1 match left,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
another one that's played 5.
Yeah.
Polaris can still make it to the major,
Copium.
Copium.
Yeah, but it's
Sorry,
like
cut you
it's obviously the wins man for RSG because it means they, you know, their chances they can't lose more than 3 games. Whereas a T1, yeah, they could go 6-1, but they could also go 2-5. So I doubt that's going to happen. But it's wide open.
We've seen crazy things.
Yeah, absolutely. And RSG have some tough series remaining. They got to play Talon as well as Boom. So they, you know, it's definitely not. It wouldn't be crazy if RSG ended 4-3, and 4-3 may not get you to the majors. So while RSG are on top right now, I don't think it's. My prediction is I don't think they're going to the majors though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I think they definitely can. Like, they're good enough to beat like one of those teams. Particularly, I think Talon, who's probably more even with them. But yeah, I think I would lean towards RSG not making it, or at least being in tiebreakers. Which who knows what happens.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
And tiebreakers will happen.
And
Tiebreakers-
tiebreakers will happen.
The only thing you know that will definitely happen is tiebreakers.
That's
but
true, 100%.
100%. But we have only started week 4. It is the end of day 1 that we saw some fantastic action coming out from RSG and Boom as they get series wins today. You guys want to close anything off, or are we just going to say goodbye?
It was lovely casting for you today.
It was.
I love you.
Appreciate the support.
Thanks so much.
She's amazing, isn't she?
Oh,
know
she's
Twitch
so
chat.
good.
She's so good.
She's such a
so
good best
Oh, hey,
play-by-play.
thanks for joining us, guys. I
Thank
really
you so much,
appreciate that one. we are coming to the conclusion of day 1, week 4. We will see you guys tomorrow for some SEA and Eastern European action.